What is going on, everyone? Tallen back here with 5-9 Gaming. I am not alone. I am joined by a bunch of other people here, and today we are going to be talking about the brand new game that is Battlefield 2042. I'm joined by Nas, Trocho, and Ignant. Go and say hello, guys, real quick.
Hello.
What's up?
What's going on, everybody?
Alrighty.
What he said. Hello.
What he said, exactly. So, all right, guys, enough fooling around. Let's get down to business. If you guys want to know, you guys obviously saw the thumbnail if you clicked in the video and everything like that. But basically what we're going to be doing today in today's video is we are going to be breaking down our biggest want of Battlefield 2042 and our kind of like concern slash hope it happens, but maybe it might not happen just simply due to past games, unfortunately, because a lot of us here and a lot of people in the community have loved things like Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and unfortunately 1 and especially 5 to a lot of people was not exactly the greatest. Not saying they were absolutely atrocious games to everybody, but I think a majority of the community feels that way. So again, we're gonna be doing that. We're each gonna be individually going through each of our own little things real quick, and then for each of those. However, real quickly, I do want to put this up on the screen right now, as well. Ignant's the one who's going to be recording and everything, but I want to go over a few extra little details that were brought up. If you did not catch our breakdown trailer video that Ignant and I did back when it was originally released, just a couple of things when it comes to like open betas and things like that, and some extra details on the game, because these are important if you want to potentially be able to get all the information before potentially buying the game or trying it out for beta, because again, it's a beta, so you try it out for free, essentially, right? So real quick, first off, there is a gameplay reveal trailer on the 13th of June. So make sure you stick around on Sunday for most people in the world for that trailer. Unfortunately, I'll be asleep at that time, but I'm sure Ignant or somebody on the channel here will be covering it live the moment it goes. But essentially, if you want to see what the actual gameplay looks like, that's one thing to consider right there. Some other additional information that came out was the fact that there is no single player in this game. There's 7 maps at launch. There is going to be seasons for this game, and it's slated to say that there are 4 seasons going for about 2 to 3 months per season from the launch of the game going into 2022. All of the DLC maps and game modes and everything, that will be free to everybody. However, the season pass stuff is going to have a free version and a paid version, but it's only going to be cosmetics and little things. So you're thinking, you know, knives or costumes or anything. When I say costumes, I just simply mean, you know, uniforms essentially. But that's the kind of stuff you should expect from there. Obviously, more details will come later on, but based on what they've told us on the website and everything, that's what we can expect from that, okay? And then finally, if you want to be able to get into the beta a little bit early, you can go ahead and get the standard edition, the gold edition, or the ultimate editions. They're basically all the same game, except each obviously version just comes with a little bit more extra perks. For example, the standard edition comes with obviously early access to the open beta, then you get the epic melee knife, and then you just get a couple of extra little fun little cosmetic stuff. And then if you happen to go with something like the gold edition, it includes the year 1 pass and some extra additionals for the specialists that are going to be included and everything. Obviously everyone's gonna be getting the specialists, but I'm assuming it has to do with more like, hey, maybe you get them like a week early or something like that from when they release, or you're going to get a couple of extra little costumes that say like, hey, I went premium and everything. So just keep that in mind when it comes to this particular stuff. But that's all the additional information right there. And again, if you want to not have to pay for anything, just wait for the beta to drop publicly for everybody, which we're supposed to get more information about that here with E3 coming up. And then just try it out yourself. It'll be available on everything: PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and of course PC. So with that being said, now though, let's go ahead and allow Ignant, our first guest here, to go ahead and talk about what is he most hyped when it comes to Battlefield 42. Take it away, man.
So based on the trailer, one thing we saw in there was the dynamic weather, and that has to be super hyped the most, because that could change just the way the game's being played completely if they do it right. So like, say the tornadoes basically leveling like one entire side of the city, that would push the gigantic mass of 128 players into another side of the map, making things more hectic. And it just, if they destroy the buildings and stuff, that make the terrain a lot different, and just make the gameplay overall more fun. And I just really, really hope they nail that. Because just imagine all 128 players being forced into one side of the map at once. And even the maps are supposed to be huge based on what we saw in the trailer. But like, if they do this right, dude, it's going to be so much fun, bro. Like, you cannot go to that side of the map if it's going on. Or obviously you just get yeeted like we saw in the trailer. People thought they'd use the wing gliders to get away, and it didn't work for them. I'm very, very excited for the dynamic weather. We saw the tornado. I'm very interested to see if that's only on that map or if they do it on other maps as well. I'm not too sure we have info in that yet, but like the ice stage, say they have like a massive blizzard going on or something, and it also does the same thing where like you die of like being like hypothermia or something over a certain amount of time. So you have to get from that area of the map, and once again, it pushes all the players to like one area of the map. It just makes it super hectic and fun. So like that's pretty much the main thing I'm super hyped for based on what we know so far. And I guess we move on to the next person.
All right, Trocho. So why don't you go ahead and let us know what you are most interested to see when it comes to the next Battlefield game?
So they kind of gave a nod to Battlefield players with that whole like jumping out of the plane, exploding the other one, rather than just the generic appealing to gamers. So I'm hoping that means they're trying to get the Battlefield fans back. And what always separated Battlefield to me was destructible environments. So I'm really hoping that they take that and amplify it on this next generation of consoles, where if I want to take an enemy spawn and collapse all the buildings around it, giving them a very limited, way out of their spawn, like take their 3 roads, turn into 1, stuff like that. Like, I'm really looking forward to, they seem to be going back to the roots of Battlefield, albeit, in the future still, but not too far. Like 2142, I believe, is the future one. So yeah, that's probably what has me the most hype, is they seem to acknowledge that Battlefield 5 didn't do that great with their core audience, and they seem to kind of be going back to what made Battlefield and not just generic COD clone type thing.
All right, very nice. All right, Nas, go ahead and take it away, man. What are you most excited for when it comes to the next Battlefield game?
Beyond the high player counts in the online servers, I would say, expanding on what Trocho said, but a little different, I'm just excited about the entire game kind of shifting back to the 3 and 4 mentality. There were a lot of features, even little things in the UI, the amount of guns that you had, the variation of, different artillery, armor, aircraft platforms, different loadouts, little sub pieces of equipment like recon drones, all this different stuff that didn't seem to translate over very well into Battlefield, World War I and then 5. So I'm really excited for just hopefully a return to form. The fact that they've announced really no single player campaign whatsoever is perfectly fine with me, because the past 2 previous campaigns in 1 and 5 didn't really interest me or compel me to buy the game. So the fact that they are just only focusing on the multiplayer experience has me excited. Things I love doing the best or the most, how to get the most enjoyment, were like flying vehicles and playing the game outside the box, causing the giant set piece collapses of skyscrapers or crashes of warships on the map were also really appealing. And one other thing that I'm really excited for that no one else here has mentioned yet, to keep it completely unique, is the return of DICE and their Easter eggs. I don't know how many of you guys really went to town on 3 and 4, but there were Easter eggs from T-Rexes roaring on the map, referencing Jurassic Park, to the Megalodon on that one DLC map that was very heavily navally based. So tons of little Easter eggs, and the community would all come together to try and investigate, almost like the Sasquatch from Grand Theft Auto 5. And over the years, the players came together to really connect the dots and what seemed to be like a conspiracy trail of evidence that led to some pretty impressive Easter eggs. So all that included, and the focus on multiplayer, is probably my major, excitement with that true return to that, vibe from 3 and 4.
All right, very nice. All right, and finally, guys, for my biggest hype moment in terms of what I'm looking forward to the most, kind of encapsulates a lot of what everyone here has already said. But again, just kind of that return to the modern era of military. But again, we know it's in 2042. That's just a little bit into the future, though. Don't expect to see flying gorillas, flying helicopters, or anything like that, right? So, but I love the modern military setting. 1 and 5 are definitely not my cup of tea, and I'm definitely excited for having like that destructible environment back, conquest and everything. I really, really hope they bring back Rush and really give it the proper treatment that it deserves after Bad Company 2. Battlefield 3 had some decent Rush maps, but Battlefield 4 unfortunately just kind of was like, hey, Rush mode will angle the barriers on the map a little bit. It didn't particularly work out well. So I really hope they can bring back that mode and everything. I know Operations is kind of Rush, but mixed a little differently in with Conquest and everything. But overall, I'm super excited for the modern tanks, the helicopters. Love my attack helicopter and everything. Anything from the little bird to even the the Abrams and everything like that. Super excited for all of that fun stuff. So, all right. But with that being said, though, guys, we're not trying to be Debbie Downers here or anything like that. We're all super hyped for this game, but we all have one, each of us have a concern in terms of what we hope will be returning in this game, or we hope that doesn't happen in this game. Obviously, it's very early. We have only had one trailer with a little bit of an internet, website info given to us. So it's not like all the details are known about the game and everything like that. It can easily be fleshed out. More details are gonna be coming with E3 and everything. But again, this little section here is simply just to say, let's hope this doesn't happen, or hey, can you just clarify this in a little bit, Dice? So Ignant, go ahead and give us what you are either concerned or hope does happen, or / doesn't happen, I should say, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and touch on something. I believe we mentioned it in our trailer breakdown, which y'all should go watch that, by the way. But we mentioned that the tanks are obviously coming back. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're most of them, but they're coming back. But I really hope, Tallen has mentioned this, that they bring back the teamwork with the tanks and don't make it where you could just one-man army that crap, and make it where it has some type of teamwork with them. Also, the one I'm really concerned about is, because a lot of games do this, is I really hope they don't hold the game back and not go all out with it just because they're also porting to last gen consoles. You have to completely neuter that version of the game, or you could cut it out completely. I don't care. I just want this game to be as good as it can. Take advantage of the next gen consoles. Make it where RTX is everywhere. We can destroy every building. Make it where the maps are just ginormous, which it seems like they are. But give us full usability, whatever, big word. Usability of the next gen console power and stuff like that, PC and all that. Do not hold the game back just because you're also porting it to last gen, which it seems like we already know they are kind of downgrading because they're making the maps a little bit smaller, smaller to scale in the last gen. And it's going to be 64 instead of 128 players. But just please do not hold the game back just because you also want to put on last gen. Because there's so many games that do that. And it's so irritating every time. But that's pretty much my main concerns right now. And
all right.
Let's move on.
Go ahead. All right. Go ahead, Trocho. What are you kind of concerned about when it comes to this particular game?
I guess if the marketing team that had the nod to Battlefield fans and the actual EA are not in sync, so we might be expecting too much and it might just end up being a really pretty looking generic shooter, which I really don't want it to do. Yeah, visuals are cool, but I'd rather have something that looks like Battlefield 4. But if you give me fully destructible environments and everything, then I'm down for that. I just hope that they don't try to make it too technically impressive and sacrifice the actual fun part of the game. That's what Battlefield 1, before it came out, all the trailers led me to believe would be a lot more epic and grander scale than it was, and then every match I ever had was yeah, it looks cool, but it's not as fun. Which I know that's always an issue you're going to have with trailers and, actual gameplay. But even the actual gameplay they showed for Battlefield 1 still made it seem like it was going to be more than it was. And it was an impressive looking game technically and graphically. Unless you're playing with friends, I found it was kind of not great. So yeah, that's my main concern pretty much is they're going to kind of overpromise how epic and grand scale the game's going to be. Or even if they have fully indestructible environments, it would be a set amount. So say, for example, you could blow up a subway and that would take out a section of the map, but you could only do it in one way every time, rather than having a dynamic way to block off roads or subways or train stations or whatever it be. Any building could be knocked over in any direction to take out a road, rather than one specific building will be rushed at the beginning of every round to blow up or stop one road in particular. Every other building would just be standing there. That's kind of my main concern, pretty much.
All right. Naz, how about you, man? What are you a little bit concerned about or hope that does not happen?
Mine's pretty easy. I don't have anything really long-winded to say, but of course the default answer is cheaters, because it's an online game and it's only online. You can see problems plaguing other games like Call of Duty these days, where people, see cheaters in dang near every match. I really hope their anti-cheat is strong and robust and really, encourages fair play while weeding out the people that just want to ruin the experience for everyone. But more importantly than even that, thing that'll make me not even buy the game is if it's too oversimplified, like Battlefield 1 and 5, how they really made the kits and the loadouts very linear for every class. There wasn't any standout reason to really pick one over the other. There were just very few guns in the game overall, and certain ones stood out as being way better than the rest of them, which really kind of took out a lot of diversity in the game. You didn't have really, again, albeit this is in World War I, but they weren't really cool toys like the laser designators, the drones, all the equipments, and again, just because of that leap back in time and amongst other design reasons, those games were just very, very linear and very downsized in comparison. I want, the hundreds of different guns, the different tools, the different kits, very distinctly different reasons to play each class. And, even some bit of customization where if you want to run a certain class, but you want to have one out of like 30 different sniper rifles in the game, you can kind of build, the ultimate class that suits your play style. But having that real depth and diversity of tools, gadgets, options, guns, vehicles, that I really felt was lacking in 1 and 5. And honestly, being a Battlefield simulation type game, much less arcadey than Call of Duty, without all of those different tools and options and variations, I didn't even really pick up those games or was interested in them at all because there just wasn't really that same spirit from 3 and 4. So hopefully they don't do that. They don't limit the game, kind of make it more linear. Again, that is more accessible, I guess, to newer players or more casual players. But hopefully they don't make this game without strongly, designing features and stuff for the more advanced players and, people who will play for a long time, had lots of different stuff to collect. So that's probably much my main concerns.
All right, very nice. And for me personally, guys, when it comes to my main concern, again, what everyone already touched upon here, I also have those concerns. But I would personally say my biggest concern right now at this very moment, again, this can all change as we get more details and everything, is the number of maps. Now, I know, not firsthand, but I was part of the community test environment when DICE LA made that Battlefield 4 map for everybody back when the DLC was free and everything after the first year. And I know that making maps takes a long time and a long process. So I am not saying that DICE is being lazy or anything when it only says 7 maps. I know these maps are huge, the biggest in the franchise. They have to accommodate 128 players on PC and the new current gen consoles and everything like that. I totally 100% get that. And especially with all the, particle effects and everything that you're going to see. But I do hope that they don't have a really huge dry period like they did. I believe it was 5. It might have also been 1, but I know 5 had this, where you had a huge dry moment when it came to getting new maps and everything. And I'm not expecting to have a new map at the very first week after the game's released and everything. You have to give me a new map every single week. I'm not expecting any of that. and I don't want that. I want to be able to play the new maps and get used to them and accustomed to them and everything like that. But when I see 7 maps and someone just says, don't worry, they're big, it's like, okay, big is good, but are they built for the game modes? Is it going to work well, right? Is it really up to polish and everything and the standards that we expect from that, right? Past games have come out with anything between 8 to around 12 maps. So again, I understand bigger vision and everything when it comes to this type of stuff, but I really hope that the maps themselves, that they have these prepared so that you can say, okay, look, the game comes in October, so the first map you're going to get is going to be in November, and then we're going to go into December and then January, and they have those planned already and they're like mostly done or made by now. That way we have that constant injection of content coming in after the game is released. So again, prove me wrong. I want DICE to prove me wrong and be like, don't worry, Talon, we got you. We got all these maps and everything like that, these game modes and all that. We got you, bro. We got you. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Make me eat my words, and I'll be good to go. But that, what I say, is going to be my big concern right there. All right, guys. So that is basically me it, though, in terms of our wrap up for what we are most excited for when it comes to Battlefield and what we're a little bit concerned about again. So again, though, we want to ask you guys as well down in the comments below, if you're a Battlefield fan or if you've never picked up the game, what are you most excited for, or what are you particularly concerned about? Does the game look fun to you? Are you going to try out the beta? Are you not going to? Are you just going to completely ignore it? Let us know all your thoughts down below in the comments, because I did see a lot of people concerned about the fact that there is no single player campaign, whereas for me personally, and I think for a lot of core Battlefield players, Nobody particularly cares about the single player or anything like that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but now you're charging a full, full price game for something that's only multiplayer. So you've got to make sure you have the content there. So if they can come out and show us that, hey, we have all this content and we've got all this stuff for you, then I think it'll be worth it. But again, we just got to wait and see, get all the information out and everything like that. And then we'll have to go from there. So again, let us know your thoughts below in the comments. And other than that, I've been Tallen. This has been Nas, Trocho, and Ignant. Make sure you guys hit that sub button if you haven't already and join the 5-9 Gaming family. Support us if you can. Leave a like, hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff. And until next time, everyone, we'll see you all in the next one.
And be sure you go check out 5-9 Gaming on Twitter, because there will be plenty of Battlefield 2042 action going on live that you'll be able to check out over there also.
You said the Twitter.
That's my final 2 cents. Twitch. Go check out us on Twitch.